Moving into video 2 of Module 4, Making Choices. Purpose. Family resource management as a process is highly dependent on the planning process. Let's find out how that planning process is going to play out wrapping up this semester. The planning process is initiated by a decision that's got to be made. Identify the situation that requires action. Formulate a plan. Implement the plan. Then go back and evaluate. Did that work or did that not work so well? And what do I need to do moving forward? A plan is a course of action. Think back to the first meeting that you had with your community partner. Now think about the second meeting. In that second meeting, schedules emerged. The partner said, these are the dates and times I have. What are your dates and times? And your partner was dealing with different schedules from not just your schedule, but from maybe 12 other students. And schedules had to emerge. Then they had to build on sequence. Okay, I can take this many at this time, this many at that time. You just wrapped up your 6 hours of independent service. Now we're going to move into the interdependent activity, which will be part of your final planning process activity. There will be some multitasking, there'll be some intuition, and there'll be a lot of brainstorming based on your 6 hours, your knowledge, and what you've obtained in this course to move forward. There are several different types of plans, and normally if we were meeting face-to-face, I would divide you up into groups. We would read the passages, and then you would come up with your own example of these plans. So for the discussion, what I would like for you to do is go ahead and read those passages on 193 to 196. Come up with your own example of a directional plan, a contingency plan, a proactive plan, reactive plan, and a strategic plan. In your module discussion, we can go over those and you can hear different examples that all tie back to each of the plans. A budget is very important in the planning process. As far as a monetary resource, you've got to know how much you have to allocate to a certain project or a certain plan. If you want to look at a budget from an American family overview, this table on 200 shows us about what the average family budget looks like per year. You'll notice housing is one of the top ones. Housing, transportation, and food, both in-home and away from the home. If you've had personal and family finance, you've probably seen this cash flow statement. Before you can come up with a budget, you've got to know what's coming in and what's going out. Do you have money left over that you need to allocate somewhere else in your budget? Or are you spending more than you actually make? This is another example of a budget. You can see here where it has your salary, any other income, rent, fixed expenses, and variable expenses. A variable expense may be changing every month, where a fixed expense is you know what your car payment is, you know what your rent is, or you have some other type of a loan payment, and that's the same every month. Family financial planning is important. There are different stages in the life cycle, and depending on what stage you're in, your budget and your financial planning needs will differ. I really like this chart. It defines those different stages in the life cycle and how it pertains to family financial planning. At the first of school, when you came in and we met face to face, and I said, okay, if there's a fire, this is where we're going to go. This is our emergency plan. We identified all the different disasters. Then we talked about we're going to do this, we're going to do that. This is what we're going to do during that. When you were younger, you probably had a plan where your parents said, if the house catches on fire, if the apartment catches on fire, this is where I want you to go. This is where I want you to meet me so that I can account for you. Just get out. Did you have that type of a plan? Do you have an emergency plan right now? Financial and emergency planning are two major types of plans instituted by families to prepare for the future. Let's put all these pieces together. What is a family? What are resources? What is time management? What is the difference in needs and wants? What is a needs assessment? What are values, beliefs, and attitudes? As you move forward in the planning process activity, you've got to think about communication. How important has communication been this semester? Maybe with me as your instructor, your community partners, other people in your group, your discussions. Communication is key to any type of collaborative project. The process of creating and sharing means you've got family communication, identify needs, discover alternatives. Communication is key in the decision-making process. Think about when you would do the telephone game where you would whisper in somebody's ear, and then it goes all the way around to maybe 12 or 15 people. And it started with this sentence from person number 1. And by the time it ended up at person number 15, was it the same sentence? Or did you have to think about all the extra noise in the room, different feedback you were getting from individuals? Communication and conflict. We've got to talk about it. Conflict, there's always going to be conflict, no matter what. It's a state of disagreement or disharmony. What's most important is your conflict resolution. What's the negotiation of conflict? You want a positive goal, and you've got to be willing to negotiate to get to where it needs to be. Looking at group dynamics within your family, many family decisions are made by a group. It could be, where are we going on vacation? Or where are we going to dinner? Or what are we going to have for dinner? Leadership is the ability of an individual to influence, motivate, and enable others to contribute toward the effectiveness and success of the groups in which they're members. A good leader is going to lead everyone into the end goal. Have you been in some type of an organization where it had great leadership? Think of what that looked like. Now, on the flip side, have you been in some type of an organization where leadership was extremely lacking? How did that work? Good communication is essential throughout the process. You've got to delegate assignments, delegate different tasks. Think again about your service learning partner and how they delegated each individual or each group if you worked within your class group. This group does this group does that. You were delegated. There's got to be balance between responsibility and authority, and that's where accountability comes in. You've got to be accountable for your actions. You've got to show up when you're supposed to show up. That's going to wrap Module 4. Go back through all the slides, click on the links, watch the videos, and be ready for a Module 4 discussion next week.